Prayer. This is a really awesome image, isn't it? It's funny because there's a cord on the phones. We don't even know what that is anymore. Alright, cool. So let's talk a little bit about prayer. Let's talk about prayer. I want to talk about prayer first by talking about V8 Splash and the juice date. Okay. When I transferred to Franciscan and met Katie, who's now my wife, okay, it was in poetry class, and she made fun of me. Our relationship started appropriately by the girl making fun of the guy. Okay, so she was making fun of me because every day I would come to class. It was 8 o'clock class with V8 Splash. I've since graduated up to coffee, but at the time I was drinking V8 Splash, and then I started to take a liking to this girl and asked her if she would like to go on a date to get juice. Okay, so our first date was actually to the little, what's it called? Like the place in the school where you buy stuff. Like the cafeteria, but there's a better word for it. I just can't think of it right now. Okay, so anyway, it was one of those places on campus. So we were sitting in the middle of a construction zone because they were renovating the building that it was in, and we were drinking V8 Splash. All right, and it was awesome. It was a splash, and my heart was thumping. Okay, because I was falling in love with this girl. And it's so cute. So V8 Splash holds a special place in my heart. Okay. But what would have happened if that was it, right? Like if I just had that one date. If I just had that one date. It's just like a one-time thing, okay? Or what if we had the juice date and then I didn't talk to the girl, to Katie, for 2, 3, 4 weeks? And then we had another juice date. Okay? I'm sure the juice would taste good, but the relationship would probably be not doing so well, right? Okay, here's why I brought up the juice. Because we do this all the time with a thing called retreat high. Okay? Where we go on these romantic dates with Jesus. It's like, I just need my Jesus fix, okay? So I gotta go on this retreat and get all jacked up on the juice, the Jesus juice, okay? And the problem with that is we live then for these experiences, these mountaintop experiences, these juice dates, okay? And there's nothing really substantial in the meantime, okay? That's a problem. That's a problem. Because we're essentially using the Lord and these experiences on retreat to get this feeling that we want, right? Of being loved or being accepted or being okay. The Lord doesn't just want juice dates with you. He doesn't. I know it's ridiculous to call a retreat a juice date, but do you understand? It's not just about those mountaintop experiences. The Lord wants us plugged in. Okay? Relationships, human relationships, don't work if you don't actually spend time with each other regularly. Okay? It's the same with the Lord, but on a greater scale. Okay? Enough said. Next. Pray. I don't know why that's there. That's good. Okay, prayer. I put this PowerPoint together in not enough time. Okay, So God is not a feeling, He's a communion of persons. Okay, so Jesus isn't a feeling. He's not just a retreat high. He's a person. Prayer is the life. Just listen to these words in the Catechism. Beautiful. Prayer is the life of the new heart. Okay? It's the life. So when we have this experience, this encounter with Christ, this juice date, okay, this moment, our life is set on a different course. Okay? And prayer is the way that we continually stay connected with Him, in communion with Him. It ought to animate us at every moment, but we tend to forget Him. Right? Isn't this the daily problem? Forgetting Him. Or the problem between retreats, right? Forgetting Him. So why does prayer matter? prayer is a vital necessity. Vital, as in like, without it you die. Proof from the contrary is no less convincing. If we do not allow the Spirit to lead us, we fall back into the slavery of sin. Okay? So we're either progressing toward Christ or toward the enemy. Okay? There's really no in between. We're either moving forward, or even if we stop, when we stop and become complacent, we're already sliding back toward the enemy. Okay? We fall back into the slavery of sin. Do you know the way that starvation works? This is an image from they did an experiment on starvation. Interesting. I was reading about it for about 10 seconds today. But they did an experiment on starvation. That's a picture of a guy who was starving, and this is like in recovery from starvation. But starvation is really interesting, right? Like you need food to stay alive, right? Your body needs food to actually stay alive. We all know that. That's not rocket science, okay? So you need food to stay alive. But when your body doesn't get food and it's starving, you know that your stomach actually shrinks? Did you know that? Like it shrinks. It becomes smaller. Okay. When we don't feed our souls, when we're not fed by prayer, we're like shrinking beings, okay? Like shriveling up and dying, really, spiritually speaking. Okay? And that's what it means to fall back into that slavery of sin. When we're not connected to the source of life, well, we start to become connected to the source of death. Now here's the deal. When people are starving and their stomach is shrunk, okay, you can't just give that person like 5-course meals to not starve anymore, right? To get healthy again. They actually have to give people food in small portions, okay, to expand the stomach. This was happening like with the concentration camps, right? After World War II was over. So this was like the state of my life. Okay, when my conversion happened in college, I was so spiritually dead. It's like that shriveled upness of the stomach during starvation. Okay, and I knew that I needed help, and I knew that I was overwhelmed, and I would risk being overwhelmed, okay, unless I had someone to guide me. So I went to a priest, I got a spiritual director, someone who could like give me doses of spiritual food in small amounts to get me back to life, okay? So, when I was with my spiritual director, for those of you who don't know what a spiritual director is, it's really someone who's like spiritually advanced, okay? Usually a priest, religious, well down the path of the spiritual life, right? Who can actually guide you, and you kind of place yourself at under that person's authority and say, like, I need your help. Like, help me to pray. Okay, help me to pray in life. And I want to just make a quick distinction. The core members are here, so all the adults that are here on core are here for you and to help you kind of like get a spiritual life kick-started, okay, but we're not spiritual directors, right? So I want to encourage you, if you don't have a daily prayer life and you want one, come seek us out. Ask us questions. We can give you some resources to get you kick-started, and we'll also point you, if you want a spiritual director, we'll point you in that direction to one of the friars. It's a great blessing for your life, okay? So we can get you kick-started. We're happy to meet with you. I want to make sure that you're aware of that, and we can point you in the direction of a spiritual director. But when I was meeting with my spiritual director, he gave me some real clear hints. They're actually summarized in a book called Appointment with God. Very basic. Brothers and sisters, when you make an appointment with someone, right? Like you have a meeting scheduled. What does that mean? That means you know the person you're going to meet with, right? Fair enough. You know the time of day, like it actually makes it on your calendar or in your planner. I'm going to do this at this time, right? I'm going to meet this person at Orange Leaf at 7 o'clock. Okay, boom. I've got an appointment, okay? You know the location, Orange Leaf. Okay? Now in prayer, we're talking a little different, right? Like we're meeting the person, who? God, okay? At a time of day. What time is best for you to pray? Really? Are you a morning person? Can you get up 10 minutes earlier? Can you give God 10 minutes? Are you a night person? Maybe waiting until you're half asleep right before bed is not the best time to pray. Okay? So you need to identify a time of day. The location. Where can you pray? When I was in college, there was a chapel in my dorm. Easy peasy. Okay, just go down to the chapel. But what about you? Where can you pray? Can you pray in your room? Can you make a space that's sacred for prayer? And this is really important. Duration. How long is the appointment going to last, right? Like when you meet with someone, you usually have some idea how long it's going to last. We're going to meet for an hour. Great. How long is the Lord calling you to pray each day? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. How long? And this is so important. Consistency. If you make that commitment, I'm going to pray for 10 minutes a day. The enemy is going to come against you with every distraction in the books. And he's going to come at you with weariness and anxiety to make you be like, I can only give you 5 minutes today, God. I can only give you 5 minutes. I know I said 10, but I can only do 5. Okay. He's going to come at you. So it's really important that we remain consistent. Consistent. Now, you've heard this line from St. Paul, pray without ceasing, right? Pray at all times. I thought this was really awesome. And we're going to connect these dots. We cannot pray at all times if we do not pray at specific times. So some people are just like, my whole day is a prayer. Well, what does that mean, really? Like, that you think about God sometimes? Brothers and sisters, when we actually plug in, when we set time aside, like nothing else is on my calendar, right? Like when you have an appointment that's really important, you clear your calendar, right? Like when there's something important for you to do, you clear your calendar. We cannot pray at all times if we do not pray at specific times, consciously willing it. So when are you going to specifically set aside time for the Lord? Okay. And now Mary Beth is going to talk some more about this concept of praying without ceasing.